Hey, listen, welcome to the club, and that's the way we should look at it every day, whether there's a virus or not, because a heart of gratitude definitely determines the altitude. And listen, happiness is everything. We've got to find a way to be happy. And the best way to be happy, I found, is through forgiveness. Yes, forgiveness. This is a special time. I believe that God is showing us how much we need each other and how much we're dependent on each other. Some people are right there in their home, mad at their husbands, mad at their grandma, mad at their uncle, mad at their auntie, mad at their brothers and sisters. Y'all, this is the time for forgiveness because we don't need that stress right now. We need love right now because love is the miracle. It changes everything. So I want everybody just to put that in your heart and put that in your mind, that the true happiness is found in forgiving one another. I was sitting here and I'm reading the newspaper and reading the internet and all the things that are going on. And I am troubled, as we all should be. But before I start talking about the trouble, I want to go to the trouble eradicator, and that is God in prayer. If you're near your radio, or if you're listening to this on your phone, not driving, I want you to touch your radio, and we're going to touch and agree right now as we bow our heads in prayer. Oh God, our Father, Lord, we bless you for another day. We thank you for your loving kindnesses and your tender mercies, oh God, that you've extended to our people, oh God, for 400 years. For where would we be without you, oh God? I know some of us say that you are the white man's God, but you are our God, because even the God that they worship is the God that came from us, oh God, because we saw you in everything. We didn't separate you, oh God. You are everything, oh God. We are pantheists in our hearts, oh God. Even the air we breathe, the flowers, the grass that grows, oh God, the plants, the flowers, oh God, each and every one of us is an instrument of yours. We are yours, oh God. You created us in your image, oh God. Right now, we beg for mercy, oh God, on those that are sick, oh God. Asking you to go in their homes right now, Lord, and touch them, because we can't touch them because we might get the virus, oh God. Oh God, this is going to be a lonely time for a lot of people. And we ask you, oh Lord, just to come in and be the foundation. Help us to remember what you've done in the past. And if you did it before, you will do it again. And we say thank you. We're walking in it. We're living in it, oh God. Bless us, oh God. Show us the way, oh God. Lead and guide us, oh God. Each step of the way, oh God. Oh God, touch our leaders, oh God. Those that have a heart for the people, oh God. And we rebuke those that are doing things that will hurt us, oh God. Lord, put your hand on them. Oh God, make a difference in their lives, oh God. I don't know what you have to do, oh God, but please, oh God, we need you to step in right now and show who you are. Oh God, we love you and we bless you, oh God. Touch each family, each home. Go into each home right now where children are in there. They're all cooked up, oh God, and all got cabin fever, need to get out and play, oh God. Oh Lord, let us understand that they are children, oh God. They are not adults, oh God. They need to play, oh God. If it's no more than letting them go outside and run up and down the sidewalk, oh God. They need that, oh God, because that energy is just bubbling over. Oh God, and they need an outlet, oh God. Help us to be patient with our babies, oh God. Help us to love them and to pull them to us. More celebration and less correction, oh God. In each and every home, oh God, we pray. In thy Son, Jesus Christ's name, we pray, and I pray, amen. Amen and amen. I can hear that. Uh, Hi, Richard. We need to get rid of that noise. Okay, all right. Well, just. Oh, wow. Okay. Richard, you can't. Is there not a. Oh, okay. All right. Richard, I don't know what we need to do here. There's no way you can go to a. No, I know you can't. You're in a hospital bed, right? All right. All right.
put it on mute. Richard can put his phone
Right.
on mute.
We're going to ask him to put his phone on mute while he's not talking when he comes back. Well, all right, Richard, can you put your phone on mute where you can still hear it? And then when you want to talk, then put it. Oh. Wow, that you have no power over, huh? All right, let's see, maybe. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, unfortunately, Richard. Yeah. Yo, right, okay. All right, we're going to have to ask you maybe to call back, Richard, and let's see if we can get a cleaner line. Explain maybe to someone what's going on and see if they can get you a little privacy. I don't know what the, you
I'll
know.
tell you what, gentlemen, all I can say is there's a lot going on.
Hey, but this is not good radio, Richard. This is awful radio. We're hearing more noise than we can hear ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, I will talk to you all gentlemen later.
All right, Richard,
I'm
be
sorry
well.
I have messed up everything.
Oh, you didn't mess it up. We'll call you later. All right, thank you. All right. All right, sorry about that. Richard is in the hospital. Richard Terry, one of our co-anchors. Richard has been very, very sick. If you all remember that we found him unconscious in his head. Doc Cheatham, we just insisted because we hadn't heard from him.
Found him in the floor, the kitchen floor.
Yes, yes, yes. And
he was found in the kitchen floor for 4 days.
Yes, yes. And he could have died. And God just put on our hearts, and we just could not believe that we couldn't get in touch with him. And Doc finally went there, and we called the police, and they knocked on the door, nobody answered. Finally, I think he's told me, Doc, that the police kicked the door, and it woke him up. And that's how they found out he was in the house. He has been in the hospital now for what, 2 months?
He started screaming.
Screaming.
We heard him in the kitchen. He had been on the floor for 4 days.
Wow. So we know that God kept our brother, and asked y'all to still pray for him because he had a stroke. We found out he had a stroke, and now he is in rehab. And he told me the other day that he's walking, making a few steps, and he's getting stronger. So I believe prayer and those good doctors are the reason for that. So keep Richard Terry on your mind and keep him in your prayers. Well, so much is going on. I don't know if y'all heard today, but y'all's president is now trying to shut down the post office. So that means that we won't be able to vote by absentee ballots in November. He's trying to do that. He's doing whatever he can to stay in power. So we're hoping that our governor gets all of the absentee ballots out as soon as to a mail drop and put them in there. We knew he was going to try to steal this election.
Well, Patrick, we already knew that.
I can't hear you, Jay.
I don't know why. I'm up.
Can you hear Jason?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. One of the issues that we were talking about yesterday on Sunday's show was that the mail is actually already being delayed as it is, mainly because they're trying to, the post office is trying to practice as much safe practices as possible during the COVID-19 pandemic. So mail is already running behind as it is. Wow. So, and what's interesting about the mail running late is that you know that they deposited the checks for workers as of Saturday. Now, those who have direct deposit will get their checks most likely sometime during this week.
Those are the stimulus checks?
The stimulus checks, right.
Of $1,200.
Right. But those who get a check that didn't have direct deposit when they filed their taxes, it may take up to a month for them to get a check.
Wow. Say that again for you all who
I have a suggestion that I heard coming from one of the retired police officers, and that was that he thought during this period of time that the police department could request that the retired officers taking what precautions they can so far as health is concerned, but to come back during this period of time. I'm suggesting that we consider that as a possible response with reference to the mail that we get. Many of the retired federal government employees that had retired from the post office, that they would take the same health precautions, and during this period of time also. And I'm saying it's not for mail in general. I'm talking about the checks that are expected to come to hundreds, if not millions of people, that we consider suggesting that post office employees take all health precautions they can, and that the Postal Service consider bringing some of the retired postal workers back.
Wow, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Well, but you know what? We don't have thinkers like that. Like I suggested last week, because you all can drive around Baltimore and you still see people standing on corners with no mask on, masks on, and no gloves, talking to each other, shaking hands, and acting like nothing is going on. Now, this is one way to clear up what they call their undesirables, is that we kill ourselves. And I was talking to Jason about that this morning. And I was also looking on Facebook from yesterday, and so all of these young people gathered out, looked like a street party, and they were standing amongst each other, acting like nothing is going on. And I asked Jason, I said, Jason, do you feel like it's a fear of living for nothing? Is it they feel that they can't get this virus? What do you think it is?
And I told you that it's just, if they had before the COVID-19 pandemic the attitude that they didn't fear death, you know, and that they didn't even think tomorrow was promised, what makes you think that they're not thinking the same thing with the COVID-19, that they're not afraid of it, they're not afraid of death? You know, and they, you know, they're hopeless, you know, so if they're hopeless,
they don't believe it, guys.
Yeah.
They don't believe, say it again?
They don't believe it's true.
Hey, Lamitra, go ahead, baby.
Yeah, they don't believe it's true.
They don't believe.
No, I'm saying they don't believe that it's true.
I agree.
They think it's all a hoax. They don't believe it's true. I was at the store yesterday, and they had people with no mask on, no gloves on. They even had their children in the store. And I'm like, what you bring? I mean, oh, my. Store without any mask or gloves or anything on. So, as far as that retirement thing, if nobody's going back, leave me with the post office, and I would. For what? What go back? Those people are older, and their immune system is not as good as most of the people that. And they're not doing the 6 feet thing inside the post office. They're not doing the 6 feet thing. No. What goes on behind closed doors? No, that is not happening. They're not coming back.
They're not coming back.
I know that is a proposal that they're looking with in reference to the police department, because we are short-staffed, and then with the Southwestern District being closed, we're definitely short on manpower in reference to the police department. And one of the proposals is to look at hiring retired police officers to be able to fill that gap.
Have we heard any more about that policeman that was walking down the street spitting on people? Have you heard any more from that?
I haven't heard anything.
Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Doc.
No, I haven't heard anything either. I'm with Jason. I heard that it was that he was put on desk duty and that they were investigating. But I'm saying this wasn't a murder incident. How long does it take you to investigate whether he did it or he didn't do it?
Well,
that should take hours, not days or weeks.
That's right. And he should have been fired immediately, man. That was just really, I mean, come on, you all. We don't know whether he had it. At least they could tell us whether he had the virus or not. At least they could give that, So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with our police chief, that he would let that happen and not be realized that that guy needed to be reprimanded and taken off the force, because he obviously has malice in his heart. And y'all should call the police department and to ask them, when is this guy going to be fired and where is the status of this case? Because that's just, what do you call that when you're walking down? That's crimes against humanity. He's walking around coughing with a smile on his face.
Now,
They call it
if he would have did that, if she would have did that to him,
Right.
He would have been looking at placing her under arrest and charging her with a felony.
Exactly. That's just a straight. Lamitra called it a terrorist act, and I think you're absolutely right, Lamitra. That is a terrorist act committed by our own police department. So we see how much they. Now I realize they are understaffed because a lot of the people are there, but this guy has a mental problem. If he's walking around doing like that, just imagine what he does when he gets in his car and pulls up on people. So I definitely think something should be done about that. We're going to open the lines. We want to know how you all are doing. Is the lady still going to call in, Jason, that you spoke to? We've got a lady that's going to call in, and she's experienced the virus in her family, and she was going to tell us what they had to go through. We'll put her right up online as soon as she comes on. 410-481-1010. 410-481-1010. Tell us how you're doing. Tell us what's going on. Tell us what you're seeing out on the street. Tell us what you're seeing in your home. Tell us what you're practicing. Tell us what you're doing during this time. What there's some people call downtime.
All right, you got a caller already. It's not the woman, it's somebody else.
All right, let's go. Caller, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment?
Hey, how's it going? I've been hearing that people still got a little congestion. That people still be out after the curfew, and that's crazy.
Oh, is it curfew?
And I want to say this. Yeah, they be out after 8 o'clock.
What time?
After 8 o'clock. And some stores are open after 8, which don't make sense because if they don't want people out on the street, why are some stores open?
Wow.
It's crazy. I want to say this about the police. What they tell black folks mainly, because they think we're naive, and a lot of us are, a mayor of a city has the authority to fire a police. But yet they say time and time again, it can't be done. When it's been done before. That's the old okie doke. That's all I want to add. Y'all have a good day. God bless.
Thank you so much, sir. The mayor has the right to do that. All right, Mayor Young, where are you? We need you to speak up and tell us, because if this man is still on the force, then there's some negligence going on there. And we really need to know what's going on. That man should be fired immediately. Really, he just should. Or is the attitude, well, they don't matter anyway, they don't vote. See, this is what I feel like comes into a play a lot of time with our politicians, that certain people don't matter because they don't vote.
And she happens to be a young lady that lives in the housing projects.
Oh, there's some this lady that's going to call in?
No. I'm talking about when you're talking about the lady that was coughed on by the police officer.
Oh, yeah.
That, that they don't care about certain citizens. Well, she happens to be someone who lives in the housing
She was
project.
nice to him when he was walking up. She said, oh, hello, rosy cheeks. Look at his rosy cheeks. And he immediately turned rabid on her. I watched the whole thing. I'm not going to dwell on that, but we just know that we got to, in this next election coming up, we've got to have somebody that is taking responsibility for all of us, not just for those that don't vote for them. That
You
is
have
just
someone named Bubby on the line?
Absolutely. Let's hear Bubby. How are you, Bubby? Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment?
I'm doing well, my brother. How's everybody doing?
Oh, man, we're praying.
Marvelous.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody doing well, I hope.
Yes, we're good.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, you're doing great. Thank you.
Amen.
I'm hearing a lot. Yeah, I'm out in the streets every day, and we went back to work today for the Baltimore City Public School Mechanical Department. We don't have proper protected equipment. We don't have no leadership. Our division is 99% African American, and we're the only one working. All the Caucasians are home, working from home. All the blacks is in the division.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Think about that. And we have no leadership. You ask a question, they threaten coworkers, say if you call out sick, you better have medical documentation. When the federal government is saying if you think you're sick, don't come to work.
But
There's a whole lot of games going on in this city.
Right.
But I keep telling you, Patrick, leadership counts, and we do not have none in this city. Let me tell you, we got a whole safety department at the Baltimore City Public School System. You call them, they give me a number to a man who's never been in the field before, who don't know nothing. It's called Personal Protection Equipment. Glenn Middleton is hiding out. He is the union president and executive director. Nobody can get in contact with him. You can't get in contact with none of his executive branch. They all hiding, allow this administration to do what they want to do to the African American employees at the Baltimore City Public School System.
Wow. They won't even give you
Are the children back in school too?
Are the children? No, the
Yeah.
children. No, the children are not back in school. No, but they got to go
No,
in there. They don't.
the children. No, the children is not back, and the only schools open are the schools that serving lunch. But the question still to be, we do not have proper personal protection equipment. According to the contract, it's supposed to be issued to us. It have not been issued to us, and when you bring up the issue, they trying to discipline people and threaten people. One of my coworkers asked a question about some protected equipment. They told him it's on order. The contract simply states, if they do not provide the protected equipment, we should not be at work.
And you would have thought with all this time they would have already ordered it, which means that the management is just not on top of it. Am I right or wrong?
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. And you should have already had personal protection equipment. Consider the type of work we do.
Right.
So this is a lap. And Patrick, we are told there was a meeting when the deputy director named Blaine Lipsky made a statement to the fact that he don't want to be paying the black employees for being out from work, so he wanted to come to work. And they got us coming. We worked 1 week, and then we off the next week.
He specifically said the black employees.
Is your phone?
Yes, indeed. My division is 99.9% African American, and all of us is made to come to work. And there's so many of us, they split it up on shifts where some of us work the first week, the others work the next week, and they want us to work from home.
Wow.
And we don't even have computers issued by the school system or communication devices because the phone they give us, you can't even pull up work orders on it.
So y'all are going in there after the schools and the workers work in the lunchrooms and cleaning up with no protective gear. That's what you're saying, right?
With no protective gear. And they are sending us to what you call now the 21st century schools. They want all them done because they had contractors who they were paying 3 times the rate they were paying us. Now they don't want to pay them, so they sending us in at our regular rate when they were paying the contractors up to $48 an hour to do what they pay us $20 an hour to do.
And we know that there's actually a worker who contracted the COVID during the lunch program that they're having.
What?
Yeah, there's a person that actually was part of the lunch distribution program for the children.
That's right.
That actually caught COVID.
They didn't have a teacher at Cherry Hill. They didn't have a teacher at Cherry Hill. They didn't have a custodian. But remember, they cannot give out names because of the HIPAA protection.
Right.
So we don't know who. We could be working with someone who have it.
Right.
Let me give you case in point. The new AD came aboard. He shook hands with one of the contractors that had the virus. Well, he came back to work 2 more days. Let us go home for 7 days.
Wow.
See, I'm just trying to say, I don't make this stuff up.
Right.
I do not make this stuff up.
Yeah, I know
this stuff just fall in my lap, so I have to say something.
Well, you know what will get me? Somebody will call in and be upset with you, which is what I don't understand about our people. Why do we do that? You're only trying to help us. Your whole thing, your whole life is about helping our people and looking at ways that they're screwing over our people in the public sphere and spending our tax dollars. We don't know where the money is going. And every time it looks like they should be taking care of the workers, they tend to fare more for the contractors that they bring in, which is just plain wrong. Yes.
Pastor, you're so right. But when you have your executive director of your union, Glenn Middleton, in bed with the politicians, they choose to protect the politicians and protect the employees. So then they can easily to try to make an employee look disgruntled when the employee is talking back and they talking about who's right. My mother always told us, it's not about who's right, it's about what right.
That's
Until
right.
this city understands this, we get what we get because we got what we got.
That's right. And we got a chance in November whenever the primary is, to change all of this. You can see now who's on top of it, just like you can see about the presidency. The Republicans are now starting to see that Trump doesn't have a clue. They ask him when was he going to let everybody go back to normal, and he says it's in his head. That means he's not listening to scientists. He's not listening to anybody. He's listening to his head, and there is no brain there. He is brain dead. He is. We just should accept that.
What is your governor? Is he a Democrat or Republican?
Who?
He's a Republican.
Our governor is a Republican, but he's a pretty good Republican considering he's doing a fantastic job. There are some other things I wish he would do, but he has been on it. And he's head of the Governors Association. So, but our governor is not bad. You know, he's got some faults.
Mimi, I argue with him all the time about our governor. I think he straddles the fence. You know, he makes it seem like he's for democratic issues, but when it comes out to the Eastern Shore and the Mountain Highs, he acts just like a conservative, a right-leaning conservative.
Yeah, no, but he's not up for election this time.
No.
He got reelected. So our main thing right now is getting the city council in order. Go ahead, Doc.
Here's what I would say, that our mayor, our comptroller, our president of the council are all up for election. 25% of the residents in Baltimore City are living in a food desert. That's why you hear and see every time there's a food giveaway, people are running to get it. They are never going back with food that was not picked up. It is clear that we are in a food catastrophe as well as a pandemic. We did a study this weekend and we found, and we could be wrong, and maybe somebody can call and tell us if we are wrong, but it looks like all of the elected officials representing us in Baltimore City, that includes the mayor, the president of the city council, the comptroller, state's attorney, sheriff, clerk, judges, register of wills, all 15 council people, 5 state senators, and 13 delegates. None of them live in a food desert. Somebody got a thirst bell ringing or something.
That must be Bubby outside.
What we are concerned with, we are asking.
What is that noise?
I think that's Bubby outside in somewhere where a church bell is going.
Okay, somewhere. All right.
Because we're hitting 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
It is 12
There it is
o'clock.
again.
We are asking that there be a mayoral discussion with reference to 25% of the residents living in a food desert. We're saying that the mayoral candidates need to discuss this. Who's near church bell?
I think that's probably Bubby out. You could drop Bubby.
Okay, Bubby, could you
And
drop
we're at 12 o'clock
drop Bubby?
That's Jesus sounding about about our black leadership in Baltimore City. Sounding about. Don't be afraid of the bell. Black leadership. That's Jesus calling y'all to task. So here, it was 12 bells because you deserve 12 lashes for not representing the majority population in this city. That's what that was. That wasn't me. That was Jesus.
What do you,
That's all I'm saying.
Bubby? What do you think about the mayor just gave? The mayor just gave everybody a raise. We got 5 more minutes.
No, it's
410-481-1010. What do you think about
It's
this
12
raise?
o'clock.
Say that again.
It's 12 o'clock.
Say that again, Patrick.
Wait a minute, hold on.
I didn't hear you, Patrick.
All right, hold on. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. We got to go pay some bills right now. Don't touch that dial.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
All right, I'm about to bring y'all back up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back.
I swear I did not play them church bells. I think it was divine intervention.
Well, I was asking.
I told you, I don't know if I was at Jesus' right hand, but I was close to the church bells. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. Bubby, what do you think of the mayor giving everybody in City Hall a raise during this time of crises? What do you think of that?
Patrick, that's what's shameful, Patrick. Patrick, I mean, this is what we're talking about. They should have had a fortitude to say, I'm not going to accept this raise with what's going on in the city, and by their job performance, they should not accept this raise. But Patrick, that's what you get in the city. You get the elected officials living like kings, and the people working in the streets living like paupers.
Yeah.
Like I keep saying to people that they don't want to listen. It is Glenn Milton's job to make sure that we have decent, safe, and affordable jobs to go to when Glenn Milton does nothing but represent himself and the crony politicians that he protects. This is terrible the way the city employees are compensated under this man.
Or the lack of compensation. All right, Bubby. Thank you so much as usual. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for all you do. All right, 410-481.
I'm gonna try to get the bell ringing again.
No, hang up.
They're the ones that get the equipment. The ones that's not into Trump don't get equipment.
Yeah, that's called
I was asking you what.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but he also outbids them, like the guy in New York was saying. He outbids them.
Right.
When they try to get some PPE equipment, he outbids them and takes it away from them.
Well, Lemitra,
now, I noticed that all the states that have mostly Democratic governors, those are the ones with the highest numbers of the COVID-19. Those are the ones that's not getting the equipment. Yeah, just look at what's going on. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
He said he's not responsible. The states are responsible for themselves.
Lemitra.
The United States is not responsible. Each state is responsible for itself. So why are we paying all these taxes on?
We got you. But I want everybody to understand. Remember when they were trying to impeach him, and the head of the Democratic Party said, this is quid pro quo. He told that guy over there in, what was the name of the place, Jason? We need you to do something for us. And that was called quid pro quo.
You talking about over in Ukraine?
Ukraine.
Right.
And that was against the law. It is against the law. But and Schwimmer, whatever his name is, I can't think of the head speaker of the Democratic Party in the Congress, said he's going to do it again. Now he's doing it against Americans. Those that lapdog him are the ones that are getting equipment, which is what Lemitra is saying. Look at that jerk down there in the governor of Florida. They're going to have so many cases. He's getting everything he needs because he's doing what Trump wants to do. This is unbelievable. This is what is called a dictatorship, you all. This is dangerous for America. I can't wait that before.
Y'all have 3 callers on the line.
All right, let's go to the next caller. Hello. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Well, good morning. We're praying. How are you, sir?
Good. Back in the 60s, when I was in Gaithersburg, we were close to NIH, the National Institute of Health. One of the employees called me and said, I got a leaking package here that's going to NIH. Of course, I didn't have any frontline supervisors because it was a new facility. So I went over to the platform, and I saw the package leaking. So I said, well, let's get a supervisor over here. In the meantime, let's call down to NIH and get one of their people up here. And they sent a person up because it's only about 6 miles away. And, of course, they cleared it to go on, but they rewrapped the package inside the post office, put it on the truck, on one of those roll-ins, and rolled it off. The young man who's informing you about the schools, he's been on quite frequently. He also lets you know about housing. I would love to make him one of my supervisors if I ever had a problem when I was with the post office.
Yes, you would welcome him.
Somebody to sound the alarm. And as far as the unions being in bed with somebody needs to take them to EEOC, which is, for sexual harassment. And that's my
Wow.
and that's my comment.
Thank you.
Well,
Wait.
you know what?
What?
Y'all have to think about all these people that working with the people that's the COVID-19 that do not have PPE equipment, but they're still working. Nobody worries about that. You know, that the people are working with people on a regular, everyday basis, and they don't have equipment. They're around there wearing raincoats and putting trash bags over their heads or whatever.
Yeah, the ones that had the trash bags got sick.
24 hours, a mask for 24 hours, and then put it up for a few days, and then they put it back on. That's the craziest mess I've ever heard for my life.
Well, don't they have the option of taking off sick or putting in for leave, saying I don't feel involved? Well, they ain't got no leave they can take.
There's
can't help you with that.
Tell the nurses they can't take off.
All right, we want to tell everybody that hold up.
Fall like the floor. I certainly will get off on sick leave.
Hold up. I heard that.
You gotta have a doctor.
Listen, hold it. Could everybody stop talking? They have just issued a tornado warning for Northwest Baltimore.
Yes.
If you are not safe, go in your basements. Look out, turn the news on.
All right, now somebody's phone is giving mad feedback. We can't even hear you online.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Can you hear me?
Patrick.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if it's an unsafe environment, and they wouldn't give me sick leave or whatever, they got safety regulations for the city, and I would have my supervisor call the supervisor, tell them I don't think it's safe for me to be here.
Well, see, all those have been broken down by Trump.
But you think about how many people would die if the nurses did that?
Well, what I'm saying is, it makes practical sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Oh, absolutely it does. We agree. I would like to make this announcement. If you live in Northwest Baltimore,
we all need to stand up.
Lamitra, please.
We need to become leaders ourselves. We depend too much on other people.
Everybody hold.
Can we hold for 1 second? We have an emergency alert in our area that we'd like to get out.
Please,
to the
everybody,
listening audience.
hold on for a minute.
So just give us a second.
There has been an emergency alert.
I think we got a storm warning coming in. I just got a notice tornado warning is coming in. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell everybody.
Like I'm saying, I'd go. If
announcement out to the listening audience.
Okay.
In North.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you. You
God
too.
bless.
You
God
too.
bless.
In Northwest Baltimore.
God bless you.
Northwest Baltimore, there is a tornado alert.
Please, if you have your phone on speakerphone, turn it off and use the headset direct.
Yes. All right.
No, I'm on a tornado warning.
Yeah, they just issued it for Northwest Baltimore. So everybody needs to get in the house, go down in the basement.
Okay, how does it sound now?
Hang him up. Thank you, sir. Goodbye. Goodbye, sir. We got you. Could you hang him up?
I don't have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead with the announcement.
The announcement is that Northwest Baltimore is under extreme tornado alert. Go down in your basements if you have a basement. Turn on the news so you can see what's going on. You can see the direction it's coming. This is so rare. But this is such a rare time. So we're asking everybody to turn on the news if you have to see what's going on, because we're under a heavy alert for a tornado to come through here. So pray for everybody's safety, and please be careful out there. All right. Do we have more callers?
Yes, we do. You want me to bring them on?
Yes, sir. Next caller.
Yeah, and family, we might have a emergency alert broadcast break in, because usually when it goes off on the phones, it also goes on the radio as well.
Right. We're waiting for the caller.
Everybody, if your phone is on speaker, please turn it on regular.
Okay. Okay. All right. Giving us interference. So talk directly into your phone.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
First of all, Patrick, how's everybody doing, man?
Oh man, there's so much going on.
It's a good day.
It's still a good day. That's true.
One thing for sure, Patrick, we're going through a lot with all these disasters coming up and hitting us. But Patrick, one thing, I would like the people to know that, first of all, they say that we all in this together, right?
Right.
And black people saying it, white people saying it, everybody saying it, right? We all in this together.
That's what they say.
What about when this is over with? Is we still all in this together?
No, man, we're not in it together now. We're not in it together now. You just heard him, Bubby,
right.
just
what
say they won't even give public workers PPEs. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, this is what I said, Pastor. I've been trying to tell the black people about the natural disasters that's coming. What would they do if it came? I mean, now, this is probably, let's just say, one of the first that a lot of them would even see a disaster. Mm-hmm. Now, what's for the black people in this disaster? Nothing but themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And what help they got? Themselves. You see what I'm saying? So what is trying to tell black people is that if you ever want anything to move for you in your life, you're going to have to get it yourself. And one way you got to get it, you got to believe in one another and stick together. So
right.
The reason why people keep telling black people stick together, because the more of you, the more you can get done.
That's right. That's right.
I'm not telling black people to stick. I'm not telling black people to stick together for to be prejudiced or don't fight this fight or anything like this. No, I'm telling them to stick together for situations that come up like this. Support of one another could very easily get us through things like this. You know, and support could very easily get them together the way they're supposed to be. But black people do not want to stick together, so black people going to always, all their life, take their foot behind all the time. You think they think they're a man, they think they're a woman. All you got to do, if you ain't going to think, just shut up and take that foot up your handy all your life and teach your children how to take that foot up their handy too, the same way you taking it up yours. That's all to it.
Well, you know, I agree with you.
Stop being the way they is, man.
I agree with you.
I'm saying this is a real serious matter. Black people need to learn how to stick together, man, and it's for a reason.
Yes, sir.
Not a joke.
It's survival.
They need to stick together. If they stick together, they wouldn't be going through this mess.
I know, but you know what?
We would have our own this, we would have our own that. And guess what, Patch? When necessary need of resources, we would have our own.
Right.
That's why stuff all spread out with the black people, because if you're talking about the executives won't do this, the executives won't do that. Don't nobody black sign their check. It's white people that sign their check, so they got to do what they say. They do what the black people say where they be. In a trash can, so we're in the back alley.
Yeah, but you would.
With rats crawling all around.
You would.
To the black people, but they won't stick together.
Taken off the air in 2 minutes because the tornado warning. So keep going.
Okay.
You can actually make it go off earlier too. I don't know if you know how to do that.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Jason.
Now I was saying to our engineer, you could actually make it go off earlier. Matter of fact, we could take a pause if you want to go ahead and trigger it now.
Did you hear her?
Did you hear us, engineer?
He obviously didn't. Well, we're going to keep talking. But that gentleman was right. We won't stick together. And there used to be the only real bond we had was the church. People would go to church and they would create mega churches because the sound was genuine from what was coming from the church and from the pastor. Mainly it was the music department, excuse me for telling the truth. But I can tell you all that gentleman is absolutely right. Look what's going on right here. Bubby just called and they're the service workers. And people are getting the virus in these schools and they go in there without equipment, without gloves. And the mayor is giving all of the city council raises. This is what is going on here? This is insanity. Doesn't he see that it makes him look like he doesn't care? I don't understand it.
He is making it go. He did make it go off.
He did make it go off?
Yeah.
We're good?
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for him to get back to us.
Okay.
I hear it going off on. Are we back yet?
Hello? We can't hear.
Are we back yet?
Okay.
Doc is still here as well.
Okay.
Well, I guess we could keep on talking. What time? Oh, is this 12:17? So hello?
Are we back up?
Are we back up?
Evidently not.
Yeah. Well, all right, Lemitra. So you all?
No, I just cut my radio on. The broadcast is on.
The alert
Okay.
is on.
Well, you said
okay.
something, Patrick?
I was going to ask you, did a lot of people go to church yesterday since our governor said that they could go to church? Do you know?
I don't think that many people went. They may have, but I don't think that many went.
Uh-huh.
If they were, I mean, I didn't see anything on TV about it.
Uh-huh.
I saw where I'd seen where he put that out, but I don't think a lot of people went. Maybe in the country, or maybe they went, but not here. Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Not here, but I agree with the gentleman. We need to, all other cultures, Jewish people, Japanese people, Chinese people, they don't look out for each other.
Yeah.
They only work for themselves. They don't work for other people. We don't stick together like you said. We need to be our own leadership. We rely too much on other people. And that's where I can imagine how many Jewish people is in your city council or work with the city. I'm just saying, different cultures, they look out for each other. We do not look out for each other. We really don't. And that's the truth. And that's why we're in this situation that we're in. Because like you said, Patrick, this is bringing us back to us. We have got to find us. We got to remember what family was like. We got to remember what caring about your next door neighbor was like, We have to get back to that because things can't keep going the way that they're going. So this is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, we're back on there.
You need some time to work on yourself.
I hear it on TuneIn.
Okay.
No, we're back on there. I could hear it on TuneIn.
Okay, we're back on the air. I was asking Lamitra, my sister who lives in Dallas, what happened yesterday with their inept governor who told everybody they could go to church yesterday. She said she didn't see a lot of people going to. Go ahead.
Mm-mm. I saw a lot of people at the grocery store, but I didn't see a lot of people at church. No, I didn't see, cars at the churches. I didn't see that. But like I said, people at the grocery stores with no masks, no gloves, with their children. Why would you bring your children out in this?
I know.
I don't get that.
I don't either. And then if something happens to any of them, this will be a slow, painful, and lonely death, you all. It will. This is unlike anything we've ever seen. They're burying people. People are not even coming to claim the bodies of their family members, you all, because they can't claim the body. So this is a terrible way to die, and we need to take it more seriously. It is serious. We were expecting the lady to call. She didn't call. We have other callers. If we do, let's take them on. Hello? A lot of difficulties today, but God is good. What's going on? Talk to me.
Well, we had lost a giant up there in Chicago, Harold Davis. He passed away from the coronavirus and stuff, right? This is big news up in Chicago because he led that radio station, Butt Naked Truth Radio up there.
Wow.
Right? He was one of the big leaders up there. So it's really a sad day. And, let me say something, Mr. Patrick. You just mentioned a lot of people dying alone and folks are these bodies and stuff, right? I would like to know the statistics on how many bodies they probably gutting up open and taking their organs as well.
Well, with those
there's a lot of silence going on.
Yeah, I wonder if those organs might not be infected, though. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't take them.
I don't think they'll take them. You can't even give blood if you had HIV in your blood. So they probably. That's a good question, though. Because some of those people did.
But science community, never underestimate the mad scientist community.
Yes.
Because they use things for a whole lot of purposes.
Yeah.
But another thing, y'all heard I came in the show late. Is Mr. Doc Cheaton still on the phone? Or
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm listening in. Can hear you. How are you?
How are you doing? Now, I appreciate you. You're a giant in Baltimore, just like Mr. Patrick and
yes.
stuff. And for all of us that really pays attention to the work that you have contributed to Baltimore.
Yes.
But let me ask you.
God bless you.
Don't y'all see this mob in Baltimore City running this city?
That's why it's called Mob City. Absolutely.
This is a mob.
Yeah.
And it's been these are families, right? That's in seat in state. Then we need to look at the history of how this city and this state's been governed.
You're absolutely right, but remember,
it relates to us as black Americans.
But we seem to be not, and I've been talking about in Texas, in the South, they call it the invisible hand. And it's been going on for in this town for decades as it is in Texas. There's an oligarchy, a few people that are running this town, and they have no mercy. They don't care about us. Even the state don't care about us. Our roads are pothole filled. The state stops doing road repair at the state line. And these people we let them get away with it because we feel helpless. Some of the people feel helpless. Too many feel helpless. And they won't elect people, or they try to elect people. Once they get in the office, they say, oh, them N-words don't vote. So they don't care nothing about us. That's why we can't understand why the mayor is giving everybody a raise and the housing department. Who does Bubby work for? Does he work for the housing department?
Well, let me say this. Who's that lady down there sitting next to Jack Young in the chair? Like I think she's the chief of staff or something down there, deputy mayor or something.
Who's Sneed?
Right.
Sneed?
You start there.
You mean deputy mayor?
That's where you start at, right? And just look at it. Look at the different districts, the 14 districts in Baltimore City.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm gonna call it out. I hope y'all don't get in trouble for this.
That's how.
Right? But the Jewish community controls a lot. It's not just them because they have a lot of wealth. Mm-hmm. Those people do stick together. And I'm not saying that to put them down, but I'm saying this that they have organized very well in Baltimore City.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And so black folks need to pay attention to that.
Well, we do pay attention to it, but then we elect people to come in and think they're going to help us. And like the last mayor, the one that's on her way to jail, Catherine Pugh, we were doing some work down in my community, and she had promised us she was going to make sure we got this small sum of money. And what she did was she went and bought them a police car instead of giving us the money for our community. So once you see what's going on, that is what the way of operation is here, sweetheart. So I hear you. You're absolutely right. But once we elect them, they change. Every one of them. They lie to us to get in there. But the other thing is they're not visionaries. They have no idea. They're a bunch of evangelists.
I'm looking at all these other candidates that want to get in that seat. Now y'all know when y'all get into these seats, and they may be progressives coming up in there. But the book that Mfume wrote, which talks about a quid pro quo, and that book, No Free Ride, that's a good read for everybody in Baltimore City. They should read that book because that's what's going to happen when you go and take any seat in government in the state of Maryland or Baltimore City and stuff, right? What we need to do is stop codependent on these folks, right? With the Stockholm Syndrome sickness we got going on in our community and begin to mobilize because we are sitting on $1.2 trillion worth of wealth. We could utilize that money. And that money is right. God got it sitting right there in front of our face.
You know what?
But we have to organize, particularly us ones that's not sick.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I agree with everything that you have said, but for some reason...
She speaks the truth.
Yes.
And I think every time we talk about our elected officials that represent us in Baltimore, I think we need to play the song by Michael Jackson. All I really know is that they don't really care about us. And now is the time for us. The majority of folks in City Hall do not need to be put back in office. We need to bring in a whole new crew.
Yep, because not even the city council people.
Well, you know what, Mr. Cheatham, in all 14 districts that want to be on one agenda, well, all on the same agenda. And from there, we can mobilize, right? And these conversations that we need to have, it's not for Facebook. It's really not. It's not for the radio. It's for us. It's for our community mobilizing. That's all I have to say. Y'all gentlemen have a good day.
Wait a minute.
Cheatham, I appreciate you. You know I love you, Mr. Patrick.
Well, where you
in our community, and we are dependent on y'all because y'all have boards.
Well,
we love you back.
We love you back.
Where
are you calling from?
Okay, I'm at home right now. I've been in the house. But I'm trying to catch this bug out here.
No, I'm talking about what state you calling from? Maryland, or you in Illinois?
No, she here in Maryland.
No, I'm right here in Baltimore City.
Oh, okay. This Dorothy. Who is this?
Dorothy O'Bannon.
Oh, Dorothy O'Bannon. Oh, sweetheart, listen.
From Baltimore.
Yeah, I know who you are, but see, they didn't.
You don't have to talk to that.
But they didn't give me the name, so I didn't know it was you, Dorothy. I love you. You know I watch your podcast all the time. and I really appreciate you. But you know what? You'll get people calling on the station and hating on Doc Cheatham for what he does. I've never seen anything.
Calls, she speaks the truth. That's all I.
She always does. And
I tell you what, I appreciate that, gentleman. When y'all make y'all move, I just want y'all to know I'm trying to put my own organization together with 3,000 women. We'll back y'all up. We got your back.
All right,
we got your back.
I'm gonna be in touch with you because I think we need to do some phone campaigning. I think we need to call the mayor. We need to find out why our essential workers, period, and working in the public sphere are not being given protective gear. This is crazy because this is going to spread this virus, and they want to regentrify. One way they can regentrify is to kill us all off, and that's what I feel like might be happening. I ain't saying it is, but it certainly looks like it has all the implications of that happening.
Is any of you men military personnel, retired military personnel, on the phone?
Not out of us.
This is biological warfare.
Yes.
Talking to my military friends.
Yeah, it is.
This is definitely and it's interesting that they keep creating these viruses that attack the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that with the immune system in science, that the stomach plays a big role in the immune system. And if you can attack the stomach, right, and if you can attack also the mind.
Yeah,
Dorothy, I don't
Most
agree
people,
with
when
it being.
They go run into the refrigerator.
Right.
We're going to have to change our diet after this.
Well, there's a lot.
Dorothy, I still don't
get
believe.
back in public. We still going to probably be practicing social distancing. Right, we're going to really have to change our diet.
Right, Dorothy, I still don't believe, and I hate to rebuke your comment, but I still don't believe that this is a biological agent. I believe that this is unfortunately Mother Nature letting us know that we just can't eat all the creatures on the planet.
That's true.
And think that it's going to be copacetic at the end of the day. It's 12:30 and we have to take our break and pay some bills.
Okay, so
I agree with you. Is that Jason speaking?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe that the earth is purging itself, right? But the earth will also use man to do its purge.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Why y'all enough to accept those elements that can move in the area and stuff? But yeah, it's kind of purge. But this is the age of Aquarius. Information.
All right.
Ignorance is not acceptable no more.
Right.
All right, Dorothy.
In these cosmos for us to be as ignorant as we are and stuff. It's just unacceptable and stuff. And then we are great people. We are great black people. We are people of love.
Go ahead with our break. Go ahead with the commercial. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead with the commercial.
We not only need to change the way we eat, we need to change the way we think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to hang up and call back.
If you say Jason sounds bad,
I'm going to try to hang up and call back. Hold on.
We're not on Facebook anymore. You know that.
We are.
We are?
Yeah, looking right at it.
Mine died.
You might want to refresh.
Okay. Oh, now I can't hear nothing. You can hear?
No, we're off as far as.
Or wherever our country needs us tomorrow.
Okay, I'm back on.
We always remember the land we call home. As Marines,
She tried to get through, but the lines are
we
tied.
take a stand
So,
for each other, for our nation,
so your network is
for us all.
doing something weird. It might be just the
The
weather.
few,
What'd you say,
the
John?
proud.
I got a Margaret Stone on the line. Is she a guest of y'all's today?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
great.
yes.
Thank you.
Our military service. All right, so when I bring y'all back up, I'm put her on after y'all introduce her.
All right. All right. Give me a second because I'm trying to work out the phone
And when
issue.
they're severely ill or injured,
I can be.
Jason said he can't hear you.
I said, give me a second. I'm trying to work out the phone issue. I'm trying to fix that.
all the in-home today to live independently on their own terms. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs were established to provide these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence.
I'm going to have to call him back on this one.
Well, I just lost you.
No, I dropped it. I dropped it on purpose because I'm going to move him. I'll move to this phone. Because I can't get the phone connected to your network right. I'm not sure what's going on, why it's acting like that.
Wow. Can't hear nothing.
Yeah, I switched the phones.
Okay, all right.
For some reason, I can't. The network is acting up today.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna put you on as soon as I can.
All right.
All right.
We're here to make sure that they
Yeah, for some reason it's not connecting.
helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed
I'm not sure why your network is doing that.
Hospitals.
It's like it's preventing this device from connecting. I was having issues with it earlier.
Huh?
I said I was having issues with your network earlier. It's like it wasn't allowing certain things to connect to it. I'm gonna have to when I get a chance, take a look at
your
it.
favorite memories? Let's see. Well, there was this one time I went snorkeling in the Caribbean when I was a kid. It really just blew my mind. I mean, when you're sitting on the beach, it's so peaceful. You sort of forget there's a whole other world under there.
Can everybody hear me? Patrick and Jason, y'all on?
Beautiful corals. I remember thinking they were waving at us.
And I think I can hear Jason. That was Jason that just said that, right?
Using fish. They kind of
I can hear you very well, very clear.
They were so bright and colorful, like birds in the sky. I'll never forget it. It completely changed the way I look at the ocean.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places.
I can hear you.
Made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore. Brought to you by La Casino and Hotel.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
It's done unto you as you believe.
All right, I'm bringing y'all back up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. We're having technical difficulties, but we'll still here. We got another 20 minutes here right now, and we have a special guest. We were waiting for her, and we're so happy. Jason, you want to introduce her?
Yes, family. So yesterday, I was out in the community trying to find...
She hung up.
Huh?
No.
She hung up?
She hung up. Yeah, so y'all gonna have to wait for her to come back. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I'll tell the story of what happened. So yesterday I was out in the community trying to find face mask, or at least something, a bandana or something. I went easily to maybe a half a dozen drugstores and went to multiple Walmarts. I finally found something. If the family is looking on Facebook, I'll show you. I actually found the white bandana. Comes in a 3-pack, so I could wrap my face. Because I think it's important that we, I'm sorry, I didn't, for the family that's watching on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube, I have, it almost looks like a white handkerchief, but it's a bandana. And whenever I go out in public now.
How do you wear it?
I tie it around my face.
Could you show them
how
you do
I
it?
tie it. So those who are looking at home, I just take it and just wrap it around my face. If you've ever had a bandana before, it allows me to tuck it into my shirt and keep my nose and my mouth covered, so that this way I'm not breathing my breath out into the environment. The reason why I decided to do that was after a conversation that I had with one of our engineers at the station, and I was telling him about, he always comes into the station with a mask. And I was always kind of questioning him in reference to the mask. And he was just pointing out to me, he said, Jay, the mask is not for me. The mask is for everyone else. my family, my loved ones. He said, because I could be perfectly healthy and catch the virus and never have any symptoms. He said, but because I may end up becoming a host because I didn't protect myself or shield myself from catching it from someone else, that I could become contagious and deadly to someone else that may have a compromised immune system. So to me, it's very important that we look at protecting ourselves and shielding ourselves, not for our own protection in some cases, but for the protection of our loved ones. And yesterday, while I was out looking for a mask, I ran into a young lady at the drugstore. I'm not going to say which drugstore, trying to find masks. And she was telling me that over Good Friday, that she ended up losing a loved one. I believe she was 80 some odd years old.
Wow.
And she lived in a nursing home. And what it was that one of the caretakers of the nursing home had caught the COVID-19 virus from out in the community. And came to work and didn't realize that she was infected. She didn't have any symptoms. She didn't have any fevers. She didn't even have any coughs. But by her being contagious and working in an environment where there were so many people who were elderly and had compromised immune systems, she put the whole nursing home at risk.
Wow.
And there were several...
How did she know that she got it from outside and not at the location itself?
It's because the location itself wasn't deemed to be contagious. She later on found out that she had caught it. First of all, these folks in the nursing home, so it's a full-time care facility. These folks are not leaving out of the facility. The only ones that are leaving out of the facility are the care workers. And that's how they know pretty much. Because you have to go somewhere out into the environment and bring it in. It's not like COVID-19 is going to mysteriously show up at the nursing home. That's not what happened. Can you turn it down?
I'm trying to.
Oh,
go ahead.
Again, it's not that these folks are going out into the environment where they could be at risk. It's the care workers that are going in and out of these facilities that are engaging with other folks in the community that unfortunately may be contaminated or contagious. And they're bringing it to these facilities. It's the same issue that happened in the Mount Airy facility. It was the care providers that were going back and forth into the Mount Airy facility that unfortunately brought the COVID-19 into the facility. So
you know what? There's somebody on here saying, somebody by the name of Charles Johnson, saying if masks were that important, the government would provide them. Stores would sell them. Contractors are in jeopardy.
Right.
Well, sir.
And you would think that that's the problem that I had yesterday being out in the community, was that you couldn't find any mask anywhere.
Right.
But yet the recommendation is that we should wear masks.
The government should provide them.
Right, because we should be wearing masks because of our breath has moisture in it. And they're saying now that there's a possibility that the COVID-19 may be in that moisture.
Airborne.
Right. Well, not so much airborne, but it's in that moisture. So we have moisture in our breath.
But you can't get it with it unless it's airborne.
We're not talking about, not airborne in the sense of that it has spores that can float. Right. So your moisture is droplets. Right. Your breath has droplets in it. We're not talking about, so there's a difference between droplets and airborne. Airborne, there are some diseases, there are some viruses that could become airborne, and they actually would live in the air or have spores that can travel in the air. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about because of our breaths, because of the moisture in our breath, that the COVID-19 could be attaching to that slight little droplets, those moistures.
It is.
Right, but it wouldn't stay in the air for a long time.
Right. It would find a resting place.
But a great place a great way to shield yourself is to wear a mask. Yes.
Now, I'm going to be the devil's advocate because I think we're missing one possible ingredient. And let me hasten to say, I have no medical experience at all.
Yes.
But I do know that my eyes are open and can receive the same droplets just as it can in my mouth.
Of course.
It can get in my eyes. I suggest people also wear glasses. I don't hear that being said. If the word now is to put these masks on, I don't see why we're not also saying put some protective covering over your eyes as well. I had to cut grass this Saturday, and whenever I cut grass, I not only put a mask on my mouth, but I put covering on my eyes as well. So I'm saying if it's being justified to put mask on, why aren't we also telling folks to put something over your eyes because your eyes are open?
Yeah, I think that makes great sense, Doc. And I saw earlier, I don't know if you saw this picture, our Senator Jill Carter was out in the community, and I thought she was going to go scuba diving. She was so wrapped up. She had the goggles on and the face mask on. You know, but any type of extra precaution, and again, it may not necessarily be for you. The life you save may not be your own. It may be someone else in your family that you saved.
That's right.
Well,
so
that
Jason, you sure you didn't go to medical school? Because you sound real good today.
Well, you know what? There's some people online. Who is this Charles Johnson? Are you seeing what he's saying? Sir, I have to tell you that that what some of the things you're saying is the way a lot of black people are feeling. So they're walking around here with no mask, they're walking around with no gloves, and they're communicating with each other close up. That is just bad. I don't care who you are or who you think you are. You can call into my show and talk to us about this that you're putting out. But I certainly don't want to ever be around you or anybody that you're around, because we don't know you could be carrying the virus.
And just to give the family the numbers. So as of 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. This morning, the Maryland Health Department releases the COVID numbers, confirmed cases in Maryland. We are currently at 8,936. Within the last 24 hours, 8,936 Mimi, confirmed cases. Within the last 24 hours, that is an increase of confirmed cases of 711.
Wow. In the last hour?
In the last 24 hours.
Wow.
Baltimore City is now at 873 confirmed cases.
Okay.
Hold on here. I don't know why somebody's deciding to call me now. What I do like about the Maryland Health Department's website now is that they're breaking it down into zip codes. And that's one of the conversations that we were having just yesterday, Pat, in one of our production meetings yesterday. We know that 21215 happens to be a community that has the most reported cases, right?
Yeah.
Now,
and the reason for that, they contend, is that when that rabbi died up in New York, a lot of the Jewish people went to that funeral, and they came back. The police couldn't slow them down, couldn't break them up or nothing. They had their funeral to bury their dead. But a number of them live up there in Upper Park Heights, in Little Israel, I call it.
And I'm glad you're saying that, Patrick, because I had challenged when I first heard that information that they were indicating 21215, because I do know, and I'm willing to have anyone from Lightbridge come and challenge this, but I do know that extensive tests were giving at Lightbridge, better known as Sinai Hospital, and I don't necessarily think that was Lower Park Heights going to Sinai, better known as Lightbridge. I think it was the upper part of the 21215 that went to Lightbridge.
Well, here's the information that's been given to me, Doc. And again, this is coming from someone who's in the community. I'm not going to expose their name. They're saying that the Jewish community has a huge infection currently. The Hasidic community is dealing with a pandemic within their community. One of it has to do with a little young lady who went to New York to an event and came back and was contagious, and they never knew she was contagious. They actually had to close up the school in Park Heights, I believe on Park Heights Avenue. They had to close up the school, the Jewish school up there, because 3 confirmed cases was confirmed out of the school.
Why aren't we hearing this in the news? They don't want to.
I think a lot of it has to do with is that they're trying to keep a lot of it. The Hasidic Jewish community is trying to keep a lot of it within their community, and I think that's also why in some cases they're not the ones that are being tested. It's our community that's being tested because we're the ones that are showing up to the hospitals to be tested. Now, they tried to say on the news this morning that some of it was because of the new testing site up at Plimlico Racetrack, but that didn't come online until Friday.
Right.
So that there's no way that between Friday and now that we'd have already been documenting 21215 being the highest.
So they're trying to use us
cases.
as a scapegoat.
Right. So, but we have to remember that we also frequent, several businesses all up and down that Righteoustown area that we may cross paths with many of the Hasidic community in the process. So my theory is, unfortunately, is that they have this pandemic in their community, that they're keeping quiet. They're doing things like sheltering in place, staying at home, self-quarantining, and not necessarily going to the hospitals. In some cases, remember, their hospitals tend to be deemed kosher hospitals or hospitals that are within their community. So it's easy for them to keep that information.
They have a floor just for them.
Right. They have a section just for them. So it's easy for them to keep their documentation quiet, and especially because of HIPAA laws, they don't necessarily have to disclose that information because of HIPAA laws. And of course, when we come in there, they're documenting us because we are coming in there most likely in the emergency rooms in many cases because we are, in some cases, gravely ill or are starting to show some signs in the process. So, but I think that unfortunately, they are suppressing that they have had an issue within their community. They just came out of Passover, Seder, just recently. They just had a Passover where they were celebrating in New York. The mayor in New York actually had to enforce rules because social distancing rules, because they were gathering by the hundreds in celebration, and they even had a parade. Another thing that's also been brought out to me from someone from the community is that some of them are leaving New York because of the fact that New York is under quarantine, that New York is under a direct shelter-in-place order, and because of the high cost of living. In many cases, a lot of the Hasidic Jews have left New York and are coming to areas like the 21215 area to settle in during this time. So, and we know that New York was an epicenter of some of the highest reported cases, right?
Yeah, it still is.
So
what is that noise?
I got 3 callers online.
Okay. We'll grab them real quick. The last thing that I wanted to note real quick was that we had this conversation yesterday, Patrick, in reference to why is it that our community seems to be the community that is dying the most from it, and in some cases...
Wait, what is that noise? What is that noise?
I'm not sure. Somebody's doing something in the background. But we were wondering why our community tends to be the community that's catching it the most and dying from the most. And what we talked about last week, that some of it is about healthcare, but some of the other issue is that we tend to be the front line or the essential workers.
Right.
We tend to be the ones that are in the supermarkets, that are down at the Amazon fulfillment center,
doing the
at
cleaning.
the pharmacy. Correct. Doing the cleaning,
the maintenance.
Still out there, in the trenches.
All right, let's go to the phones. You're absolutely right, Jason. Let's go to the phones. Hello, welcome. Yes, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment?
Comment.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Harris cannot fire that police yet. He's not, by law, he cannot fire that police.
Okay. Well, tell us why.
Because he has to have a trial board. He has to go before a trial board.
Okay.
And he's going to have the best FOP lawyers there defending him.
But who is this? Ernest? Who is this?
Ernest.
Hey, Ernest.
Good morning, Ernest.
Tell me this, though. Now, they got him on video walking down the street coughing. How about just getting him tested and make sure that he didn't have the virus? They can't do that either?
Yeah, they can do that.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's what
They can do that, but they can't tell you because I think the HIPAA law.
Okay.
If he is infected or not.
Right. The HIPAA law would protect him.
The other thing, real quick, all Jews are not alike.
Right. That's true. They're not
all Jews are not alike.
Right.
They got Ashkenazi Jews. They got Sephardic Jews.
Yes.
They got.
Okay.
They got.
Yes, and your point is that they're not all doing the same thing, right? The Hasidic is a heavily religious community, but we're not talking about that. We don't care what they are. We just want people to know that they're using us as a scapegoat, and up there in Park Heights, and they should talk about the origins of it, how it got there. But go ahead.
Correct, because we're not the ones doing the frequent traveling.
Right. Go ahead, Ernest.
The other major problem is that the shooting that happened recently, where three police got out their car and shot at a individual multiple times, it appeared like in the back, and one of the police has already killed 3 people. This is the 4th person that he has shot to death in a black neighborhood.
And all of them were deemed to be justified.
Go ahead.
That should be more what black people are talking about. These 3 police, they got out there and shooting like crazy. They didn't care where those bullets went into a black neighborhood. They wouldn't have did it, like you said, in Upper Park Heights.
Right.
They wouldn't have got out their cars. They wouldn't have did it they wouldn't have did it in Pigtown in Baltimore in a white neighborhood.
Right. So, was it on video? Did anybody tape it?
It was on video.
Yeah, they released the body camera.
It was on video.
Wow. They released the body camera footage as well.
Wow.
Nobody was, and plus the fact, just because a person has a gun, you don't know if he has a gun permit or not.
Right.
You don't know if he has a gun. So if you have a chance, you behind a car, you behind cover. So you should give it the man, drop the gun. If he doesn't drop the gun, if he points the gun at you, then that's a different story.
Right.
You just don't come up shooting.
Right.
But actually, this police commissioner, like I told you, he really doesn't have any power. If Barack Obama didn't have no power, what makes you think that this police commissioner has power?
Why are we paying him all this money?
Barack Obama was the president of the United States.
Right.
And wasn't in control of anything.
Right.
Very smart.
Ernest, I don't know if you heard the question. Why are we paying him all this money?
Did you think everybody else can't see that we're paying him? Why are we paying him all this money, Ernest?
Because that's what his contract went for. He had a lawyer that represented him, and that's the money they decided to pay him, just like you do an athlete. You have somebody represent you, and if you say the name of price, you're not going to say, would you say, you're giving me too much?
All right. Thank you, Ernest.
Have you ever heard anybody say that?
No, sir. You're right. Thank you as usual. Thank you for the information. Next caller, please. Next caller. Welcome. You have a question?
Hello.
Hello. Come across.
Is this Patrick?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is Galord. We haven't talked in a while.
Hey, Galord, what's going on? Talk to us quickly.
Yeah, I don't hear. I haven't heard this mentioned. But with the when people have to when they're out and about, the foot coverings, that's important because I have to make sure I take my shoes off at my front door.
Right.
Because when you walk in the street, people are spitting. You don't know what you're stepping in.
Right.
If you have carpet in your house, you bring it in.
Right.
So that's one way.
Right.
I'm going to do to wrap it up because I'm wrapping up, everything, ears, eyes, mouth, and everything, because we don't know yet.
Right.
So I'm taking all the precautions, and I hear people calling in. But that's something people need to think about as well.
Yes, sir. Right? Very good. I agree with you. Yes. Thank you. Next caller.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Good afternoon. Hi. My name is Nina, and I listen to your show all the time, and I'm glad that I was able to get through. I just want to make a statement about the coronavirus. I was running an errand last week in West Baltimore, right there in the Saratoga Street area, and it was disturbing to me to see right there was a house with it had to be at least 20 to 25 people on this porch. And I mean I'm talking babies, middle-aged people, young people. They're just not taking it serious. It's their mindset. And, I just, it was unbelievable to me. It really was.
Well,
and I'm constantly hearing how the numbers are stagnating in the black communities, but we really have to take this thing serious.
Yes, we do. Yes,
and
we
I
do.
think a lot of people are not.
Well, you know what, Miss? You know what I suggested, and I put on Facebook and had people to call. At least the police could drive around with a bullhorn and say, break that crowd up. Move on. Don't stand there together. It's dangerous. They could do more. Where is our mayor? Where is the police department in trying to keep people safe? Brother Charles Johnson says that they're just trying to clean us out. Is cleaning us out.
And Patrick, they are doing enforcement. From what I understand, they've had 25 arrests so far.
Okay.
And the health department has been given additional executive orders to shut businesses down where they deem that to
What
be
about people
unsafe.
standing and gathering?
But these people were on their porch. This was their house.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't on the corner or in front of a storefront. I'm talking the house, the porch, the front door open. They were on a porch. It was just unbelievable.
Right.
It was unbelievable.
It is. But I mean, you drive down North Avenue, and I tell you, people standing out there. I saw public workers out there from the Department of Public Works, standing in groups talking like nothing is going on. No gloves, no mask, or anything.
I've
It
even
is
seen
scary.
construction workers working, closely together.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So is it that our city fathers are not trying to take care of us because all they got to do is issue? Everybody's got to have on a mask. Everybody needs on glove and don't stand within 6 feet of each other. And not doing it. Thank you, Brother Gallard, for talking about coming in your house and taking your shoes off.
Yeah, that's an
important thing. And then don't walk around your house with bare feet anyway. Put some socks on.
Right.
Put something on to protect your feet to keep it from getting on you.
Right.
So thank you so much, sweetheart. You're absolutely right. Thank you for sounding the alarm.
Our time is up.
Our time is up. Well, you've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. We've had technical difficulties somewhat, but we hope we got the messages across. And asking everybody, please be aware. Don't sleep on it. Don't take your children to stores. Don't do that. I saw it the other day. Lady had 3 or 4 kids and they putting their hands all on the shelves and stuff. You don't know who's been there. This thing is serious, y'all. And if they want to get rid of us, this is a way to do it. And they can say, oh, we didn't do nothing about it. They did it to themselves. We cannot do this, y'all. Wake up, my people. Wake up.
And remember the life you saved may not be your own. It may be one of your loved ones.
Yeah, but it could be yours too. So don't forget
there's
that
over
too.
1.8 million people worldwide right now that have the coronavirus.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Well, join us next Sunday at 3:30 on Spirit 1400. That's 1400 on your AM dial. And then join us here again on next Monday on WOLB 1010. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. God bless you all. Be safe, you all. Love one another. Forgive one another. Pull them children close to you. They're scared as you are, but they don't know how to say it. So reassure them and we'll be in a better place. God bless y'all. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
The thought of my son growing up with.
You're still live here, everyone. You're still live here.
It's not. I'm not on there. Yeah.
No, I'm saying you're still live.
Okay,
on
hold on.
Facebook. Folks, you still want to join in the conversation, you can actually give us a call. We have the capabilities of taking calls. Well, let me turn my mic on. Folks, if you want to give us a call, we do have the capability of taking calls off air as well. 410-682-5586. I'll post a number on the screen. If you want to call and continue the conversation, you can. Again, the number is 443-682-5586. You can give us a call right now. and we can continue the conversation. Anything else you wanted to wrap up with, Pat, while we are still on air?
I can't hear you. I can't.
You could take the earphones off. You can take them off.
Okay.
Yeah. I was saying, was there anything you wanted to say, now that we're pretty much...
One thing I want to talk to everybody about is, y'all might think I'm weird. I believe in miracles. I do believe that God still answers prayer. He may not come when you want him. He may not come the way you want him. But I'm telling you, if you love him and you show gratitude in your heart, but you can't show gratitude if you're mad at somebody. It just doesn't work, because that keeps your vibration from going to the level that it needs to go to be with God, to walk one with him, because there is no negativity in God, especially towards one another. That was one thing Jesus was most adamant about, was forgiveness, because he knows that was a weight. The Bible talks about putting aside every weight, because those weights, they become weights on you. And when you're cut, other people bleed. That's what we don't realize it. You don't realize that you're angry and it'll come out in ways that you don't really mean it. That's not you, but your psychological state dictates that you're angry and you need to take it out on somebody. You need to speak it. So prayer is one way to do it. Meditation is an excellent way to do it. But most of all, it all starts with you. And I'm going to ask you all, if you don't do nothing else that I've ever asked you to do, I'm going to ask you to practice forgiveness. Practice forgiveness. Practice, loving. Going to people, calling up on the phone now that you can't talk to them. Okay, you can't see them, you can't touch them. And apologizing. You might have to swallow your tongue for a second to do it, but that's all right. Your heart is going to be better. The environment is going to be better. The peace of God is going to be better over your lives. I'm telling you, y'all know I had a rough last year and a half. A heart attack, prostate cancer. Yeah, I've seen it. I see got a stent in me right now, but God is keeping me. Yeah. He's keeping me, and my prayers and stuff, no, they weren't answered when I want them, but they were answered. So I'm testifying to you. The Bible says they overcame by their testimonies. Their testimonies. I'm testifying to you, God is real. All you got to do is believe absolutely. Now, you know I'm a minister of music, Jason.
You said that yesterday on Spirit, and I was saying that, this is a time for redemption.
Yes.
This is a time definitely for redemption. Especially you have unoccupied time, you're sitting at home, you're driving yourself probably mentally crazy in the process. Yes. This is time to reach out to those that you really need to show some redemption for and have a conversation with them.
Why, absolutely. And mostly our seniors, and especially now, because they're scared, because they're the most vulnerable among us. You might not can go over to the house, but you need to call them every 15 minutes sometimes till they say, will you stop bothering me? I'm okay. But at least they know somebody cares.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. If you just know somebody cares, it makes a big difference in your life. I'm telling you, I was on 20 years ago, y'all remember I was in the hospital for 3 months. And if it wouldn't have been for those people coming by there, calling, loving me, and I would have been discouraged, I would have been depressed. And most of all, my big sister, Lamitra, who lives in Texas, she would call me, she came and stayed with me, and she would say things like, you still Patrick Henderson, you're going to get over this, you're going to be fine. And here I am sitting here today. I am a miracle. I know I'm a miracle, because then when they took me out of my house, and with some of my limbs cut off, I was supposed to have been dead on arrival. But here I am today. So I know prayer works. I know great doctors work. I know that the love of people has power, and you have power, but you must use it on you first. When you get on an airplane, what do they tell you? That little bag, that little mask drops out of the air. They tell you to put that on who first? You first. Because you can't do nothing for nobody if you're not strong. And we've got to pull up. We've got to be responsible. Yes. When y'all see they're giving away food, go there. Go to my page. It's always on my page who's giving away food. And don't worry about things. Just believe that God is going to make a way. But you got to manage it. You can't go out and buy a bunch of lunch meat and stuff and expect to feed 4 or 5 kids for 3 or 4 days. It ain't going to happen. You need to cook a big pot of beans. Cook a big pot of stew, maybe chicken noodle soup, so they can eat whenever they want to eat and keep it. A big pot of spaghetti. Don't go buying a bunch of lunch meat and stuff. It's not going to last. We got to be wise. We got to understand that we got a lot of people to feed. We need to make food that can go for days. Beans, I know y'all don't like them. Go online, get you some good recipes. Text me. I got a great recipe for black-eyed peas, pinto beans, lima beans. They are good to make up a pot of cornbread. Lord have mercy, them children going to be so happy because they're getting the protein and they're getting the fiber that they need for their little bodies to operate. So don't go out buying a bunch of steaks and stuff and a bunch of crab cakes and stuff. No, use that money to buy beans. Use that money to buy some chicken, buy some pastas, buy some tomato sauce. I got a great recipe for tomato sauce too that they will just love. All you got to do is you can either call me at 410-481-258-7373 or ask me on Facebook, Patrick Henderson. And I will be more than happy to share with you ways that you can cook and feed your whole family for 3 or 4 days. And you know, stews and stuff like that, beans, they always taste better the next day. Mm-hmm. They do. They're more flavorful. Mm-hmm. So listen, don't be going out and say, Lord, we ain't got nothing to eat. And you done spent all that money on lunch meat then. It's like they're charging you for slicing that meat. That's why it's so expensive. Mm-hmm. Okay? So I want you all to, let's just not think about escaping this virus, but how can we thus now live in the midst of it when some of you don't have your paychecks, when this money from the government is coming slowly and stuff. You got to learn how to manage the little bit that you have and pull back right now. You don't need to be buying crab cakes at $30 for a thing of lump. Oh man, you can buy more beans and chicken and things like that you can survive on for days.
That's what's interesting, Patrick. When I went to the store when they were first clearing the shelves, some of the sections that were still kind of intact were the dry beans section. Yeah. You know, folks don't, yesterday I was in the supermarket and I saw that most of the frozen food section where the frozen dinners were all gone. All the banquets and Swanson, all the different name brands, the whole section was gone as far as frozen foods is concerned. We have to get back to the basics. I think this is a perfect time. There's plenty of YouTube videos. There's plenty of cooking recipes online. Right. You can go online and really learn how to, get into those culinary skills. Get back to the basics. Yes, get back. Stop all this processed food. Matter of fact, in some cases that'll hurt you if you have the coronavirus with all these processed foods. Yeah, not only that, but it makes your blood pressure go up because it's got all these chemicals in it. Listen, it's easy to cook. Y'all might not like it because it's a chore, but I'm telling you, the reward is just amazing. And I know you don't talk about packaged food, but I tell you what, if you'll get a package of Jiffy cornbread and pour you some milk in there and an egg in there, your children will love it. Ain't nothing like cornbread and beans. Let me tell you, there's nothing more filling, and they can eat all they want, and their little bellies will get full. And if their bellies are full, they're going to be a little more calmer. You need to let them go out and not around each other. Let them run out and play. Go throw a ball to them out in the yard. Give them some air. Let them breathe a little bit. Give them some exercise. You got to get out in that sun during this time. Shelter in place doesn't mean that you shouldn't, go out in the backyard and
you don't need to gather with a bunch of people, but you need to do it.
Yeah,
you need to
get some of that sun. I'd love to hear from folks right now in reference to maybe they have a recipe they'd like to share, or what are you doing to be able to conserve your resources in your home as far as food is concerned. We'd love to hear any recipes that you may have. 443-682-5586. My wife last night cooked a delicious salmon dinner last night. So I had salmon, and then she had mixed vegetables that had zucchini and carrots, and it had asparagus. It was just a mixed melody of vegetables. It was just so delicious. And then she had a little bit of greens as well, some collard and kale greens as well. It was just delicious dinner. And I got to give her a shout out because she's really getting into the culinary arts. And matter of fact, she makes salmon a few different ways. So sometimes she'll sear it. And last night she baked it and it was just Just so delicious.
Well,
this
we
baked
need
salmon.
to be doing that. And I'm going to tell y'all another little thing while y'all sitting around the house. An 8-ounce glass of water with a tablespoon of baking soda and some lemon juice will clean you out. Don't go nowhere. Stay close to your toilet for about an hour, and you're going to flush all of that stuff out of your system. We need to start thinking about taking better care of ourselves. We can't, especially if y'all eating all these frozen dinners and stuff, it's got chemicals in it because they have to put the chemicals in it to keep it from going bad. And you're putting it in your body and you're sedentary. I heard a guy the other day say, no, get up. Don't be sedentary. You know, get up, move about, go up and down them stairs. Go outside and take a little walk by yourself. Okay?
All right, hold on.
Who is that?
We have one caller. You might want to put your headphones on.
Okay.
Dorothy, you there with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I hear. Patrick's got to get his headphones together here.
Okay, I'm on.
You can hear her now.
Okay. Hello?
Hey, Dorothy.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all doing this, that y'all continuing on, because what y'all be talking about, it's y'all need to go on 24/7.
We love you, our dear sister.
Love you, sweetheart. Love you.
We love you too.
And
I
you
wish
do
y'all
too.
had more airtime.
Well, I
But
wish
this was
we.
good too.
Yeah.
Patrick can build the audience right here on this, on his spare time. And stuff.
What's interesting is we go back and forth all the time with Brother Charles, but Brother Charles just brought something up that just brought me back to my childhood, making homemade ice cream.
Yeah.
Remember with the machine, and you throw the ice in it, a little bit of salt and the cream in there, and you turn that machine on and let that machine just, work for a few hours and have homemade
ice cream.
Yeah, throw your
I never
lemon
knew how
flavor.
to make no ice cream.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
easy.
man. Oh,
Kids
yeah,
would
it's
love
so
that.
easy.
Yeah, they would love it.
Yeah.
They would love it.
How you doing?
They have machines for it. They have machines that you throw
Dorothy,
all the stuff in.
Go Google it.
Yeah.
Google it. And they can tell you much better than we can. They can show you how to do it even without a machine.
Yeah, without a machine.
Without a machine. But
just
Google
that
it.
churning machine. Just
I know, but a lot of people don't have it.
My grandmother had one of, you could tell it was old, because the motor, made a lot of noise, but,
Oh, y'all had a motor.
Yeah.
We had one you had to do the crank on.
We was a little bit in the new age, but it was, but you could tell it was one of the old, you had the old school blenders and the old school irons and toasters from back in the day. It was an older machine. You plug it in. I swear, when you threw the switch on, the lights dimmed a little bit because the motor was so old.
The magic was coming.
But it turned that ice cream. We couldn't wait for the ice cream to finish.
Oh, I know, it was just the best, and it is.
Yeah.
We used to love for when it snowed because we make snow ice cream.
Okay.
See, I don't know if y'all know about that, but we get that snow and put some carnation milk and sugar in there and churn it and again.
Right.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Right. Yes,
we pack you back there, man.
Yeah, I'm going back. Well, Dorothy, so do you feel, Brother Charles Johnson? I'm feeling that the government. I could be wrong. But I'm really feeling that the reason that the city fathers, I could be wrong. I don't know. The reason they're not trying to protect the essential workers and our children is because they want us to die off. How do you feel about that?
You asking me, Mr. Patrick?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they thinning down the population.
Yeah, that's what Brother
It's not,
Charles said.
I wouldn't say it's local government so much, because this is a virus that is attacking everybody. It doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
Right. Whether you're healthy or you have some kind of underlying ailment. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's so much our local government, but the on the federal level. This to me. The way you started it off after you left the program, pray for we got to love, we got to forgive,
redemption.
We got to stay in that mode.
Yes,
deep down in our.
It's
we really are loving people.
Yes,
but
we are.
This is some cruddy stuff here.
Yeah.
I mean, to allow this to happen on this ground. United States of America. I mean, it just goes to show that these people that's into money the way they are and materialistic things, that they're, because you got let us remember, this is our economy that's behind all of this.
Yeah.
And somebody is profiting at the end of the day.
Oh,
and the 1%ers are getting theirs off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Starting with the president.
Absolutely, yeah, he's included in that, and his administration. All of them is being paid.
Yep.
So, and all these government organizations is getting a piece of this some kind of a way too.
Oh,
but it's almost it's got this whole country feeling like we're rats in a laboratory.
But check this out. The part that's getting me is him trying to close down the post office so we can't vote for send our ballots in. Now, if that's not a coup d'etat, I don't know what a coup d'etat is. That means when the military and the administration takes over the government. Now, if he's not trying to secure those elections, isn't that grounds for impeachment?
I mean, you would think.
It should be.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, I would think so. But, you know, I that's the other thing, other than the money. And I thought about that because somebody gave me a call yesterday and they asked me, Miss Catherine Nicholson, who got the program over on Pimlico Road, Sister Saving the City. She asked me, she said, did you get any kind of notice in the mail as it relates to the election? I said, I haven't received anything. And she said somebody told her about us supposed to be getting some things in the mail. And I said, I haven't received anything.
Yeah.
So how are they going to do this election here and locally, this primary election?
Well, from what I understand, it's going to be a mail-in ballot. They are going to have some polling stations open for those, for whatever reason, are incapable or do not have the means to do a write-in ballot. I think that may have to do with, we talked about this yesterday, Patrick, about, in our community, we have high rates of illiteracy, so there are some folks that just are going to have complications trying to fill out, a mail-in ballot. And so they may need to have some other accommodations. I'm pretty sure that there are probably some accessibility ballots for those who may be blind. It'd be great to hear from Brother William or one of our folks in the community that are blind to tell us whether or not they've had experience with a mail-in ballot that had accessibility means, whether it was Braille or some way so that they could be able to fill out the ballot. But I know that they're supposed to have some polling places open to be able to accommodate some folks that may have some difficulties in doing a mail-in ballot. But as I told Patrick, we have mail right now is not moving at its regular rate. And a lot of it has to do with the mail service is taking precautions in the sorting rooms and in the way the mail handlers are handling distributing the mail so that they don't put their workers at risk. So mail has been slowed down, and there's been folks that have been complaining that they haven't seen mail in weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
So we go
and I've been spraying my mailbox too before I get my letter out, and I put your gloves on too when you get that mail out.
But see, if we go to a mail-in ballot, and we're already having issues with logistics as far as the mail system is concerned, and then you have, an idiot, like President Trump that decides, to close the mail service, trying to use it as an excuse, saying that he doesn't want to put those workers at risk, when technically we know that he's probably looking at voter suppression.
Yep, that's all it is.
That's all. So how do we get around that? And I think, Patrick, you were saying yesterday that there's one particular county that actually is utilizing, Montgomery County, that's utilizing an electronic means.
Yeah.
And I don't see why we can't go to that in some cases.
Right.
I think it's a great time for us to look at implementing an electronic system as far as ballots are concerned.
Yeah, and they were saying the reason for that is because that's one of the richest counties in the nation, and they have more computers there. That was what I heard for the reason for it. But they don't know. They should open it up to the state.
Right.
So where's the governor here?
But the way technology is now, you really wouldn't necessarily need the internet. I mean, we could do it by typing in a code on the phone, and then listening to a phone prompt and deciding you could actually do you could do an IVR system.
Okay.
An IVR system is a prompt system, that tells you to press 1 for this candidate, 2 for this candidate, 3 for that candidate, and we could do it.
Is that simple?
It would be that simple. I mean, and you don't necessarily have to have the internet. You would just have to have access to a phone, which most of us have access to a phone.
Right, one way or the other.
Right.
Landline.
Jason, you need to maybe you need to try to get to Jack Young or
Armstead Jones.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah.
Because that's a good idea right there.
That is. In fact, I think he should go on to put it on Twitter. You know, well, since the president has decided he doesn't want us to do it, why don't we do a voice? I mean, a telephone thing. Everybody's got a phone,
right?
And it's that simple, and they can protect against fraud
Right.
because if it comes from the same number more than one time, then they know that it's not legit.
Right. Right. You could have a registered number, you know, that you would have to go on, you know, online or register, or you could call in to have your number registered. But I'm pretty sure there's a way, you know, that we could easily put it into an IVR system.
Right.
You know, the same way you
Wouldn't
call.
it be amazing though if they could do it that way and put the propaganda? You know how on Facebook, on social media, they are redundantly putting out advertising about this COVID-19 thing, right?
Right.
But do the same thing with the election, right?
Right.
You know, so everybody would be informed about how you can vote. Right, and wouldn't it be awesome if they pulled in through social media record numbers of people voting in this election?
Oh, they would.
As opposed to.
Yeah. Well, that's why Trump is trying to stop it. Well, that's why Trump is trying to stop it, because he know if they do that, then there's not one Republican that's going to be. They will be totally powerless.
Right.
He knows that. That's why he's not doing it. He said it already.
And you know, we like to talk about conspiracies and things like that, Dorothy. You know, I'm not necessarily a conspiracy theorist, but there's some things that I look at and analyze and say, you know what, there's something to this.
Yeah.
When we know that they're saying now, and I was watching Meet the Press and watching the Sunday news programs, we know that now that President Trump was being briefed about a possible infection coming from China as early as November of last year.
Yeah.
And during his daily briefings, they were telling him that they were seeing these signs coming out of Asia, coming out of China, that could easily become a pandemic in this country.
Yeah.
In some cases, you know, and I might just be being a conspiracy theorist here, but you know, in some cases, he may have let this prolong, you know, to utilize this as an excuse, you know, to meddle with the election come November.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These Europeans, you know, they don't never just have one plan.
No, they don't.
No.
Never.
No.
They always they can use things to their advantage that's going to help their side of the war.
Right.
They're going to use it.
Right.
But not only that, another thing that I heard that assimilation was done last year.
What does that mean?
Assimilation on
assimilating
to break out here in the United States.
Assimilation.
Right.
Oh, in other words,
they were practicing.
Practicing. Okay.
And they failed
responses
in all the areas. In all the areas, they failed. Now, another thing that Obama, before he left office, he left a playbook.
Yep.
For them because of the Ebola virus.
Yep, he sure did.
Yeah.
And
which they dismantled most of that.
H1 and stuff, and so he was aware that something could happen here in the United States as it relates to a pandemic.
Well, do you notice? You notice, Dorothy, that they still trying to blame him for it? That was a thing on today talking about elected Joe Biden would give Obama. Oh, I know. What's her name? What's that stupid woman's name? What is her name? They just talk out the side of her butt.
The lady with the scarves that be up there.
No, the one that. No, I'm talking about the one. I can't think of her name. But
you're not talking about the Spanish one.
No, I'm talking about the white one. Who said that if you elect Joe Biden, you're going to give Obama another term. And people say she don't know. She just gave an endorsement to Biden by saying that anybody wants anybody but Trump. So that's how dumb they are. They think people are stupid enough not to realize that Obama was smarter than all of them, including Joe Biden. So it's just what is her name?
Obama was more predictable, right? He knew how to go with the grain.
Yeah.
Trump on the other end of the spectrum they knew he was a wild card because of his racism.
Or a wild child.
They knew he was going to pull that kind of a base and get some things stirred up. So
if you can get the momentum going with all the radicals over there and militia groups and every other kind of group that's hooked up under his base and stuff, right? That they can use that. That's what I'm saying about this European. They don't have just a plan A. They go all the way up to Z, and they can use whatever plan, something that we could learn from. The black community.
Yes.
It's like our agenda is just one damn agenda, and when that agenda don't go through, we call it today, and everybody goes home. We can't work like that. We can't continue to work like that in the 21st century.
And I was telling Patrick that this has huge implications on the national election, on the presidential election. You know, how many family members do you know? And I said this yesterday to the lady at the drugstore. I said, how many family members do you know, that take the mail, and put it with the junk mail and everything and sit it somewhere and barely go through it, and so you have a paper ballot that's, mixed up with all this mail that comes in, and it sits there for months,
and then they throw it out.
Right.
That happens a lot every time they do a census.
Yeah.
That's another reason why they're not pulling in the census.
Yeah, the amount of people for census.
The main reason is because blacks don't trust this. That's the most idiotic thing I think about our culture.
Yeah.
And I think we're under
trust the government. Okay, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they got your social security number. They know everything they need to know about you. That's a note right there.
Right. And we're under 600,000 right now in reference to population, which is probably definitely not accurate, as far as numbers is concerned. So because we're inaccurate as far as numbers is concerned, we could be seriously looking at improper funding for many of our programs throughout the city, including schools, hospitals, roads, and in some cases, depending.
I think the state get that cut off the top when after they get those. It's no doubt in my mind that they got mathematicians in their thinking tank that allows them to tweak numbers for them to get extra money, and all states do it, right? And the state actually gets a lot more than the pot before it flows down to whatever infrastructures and organizations that money is sent down to on the local level and stuff.
Well,
right?
Dorothy, what do you think the mayor got the money to give everybody a raise? Okay, but they can't find PPEs for the city workers in the government. Where did he get that money from? That just shows you there's a bunch of lying going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And not only that, look at this, right? Look how they the comptroller of this state was like, okay, because of this virus, right, and how this thing is operating. Okay, if you need this, we're going to go ahead. They did all these executive orders and put that in place. Look how they created this money flow, just like that. And then everybody's supposed to get this check on top of that.
Right.
And here it is, our community, the underlying communities, marginalized communities, been fighting for money for God. How many decades?
Forever.
You mean to tell me you couldn't create? Because, as a matter of fact, our community have been in a pandemic state of emergency community for how many decades now?
I know decades.
Can take it back to the 70s.
I've been here for 20 years. When I came here, the kids couldn't drink out of the faucet. That means that they had money laying around that they could have put water filters on all of these things. They don't care about us. There is no administration that has been there, including the present one, who cares about the people of Baltimore. They just want the power and personal gain. And when we understand
let's look at the political structure. I always say that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party is one party.
Yeah.
One party is to deal with the economics of the country, right? They love to be in charge of that. It's going to be a mess made. It's always a war when it comes to economics. Right?
Dorothy, hold on 1 second, Dorothy. Let me see who else this is. Hold on 1 second. I don't have my other phone system here. Just hold. Don't hang up.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Are you calling for the show?
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on 1 second. I'm going to merge you and Dorothy. So, and if you just hold 1 second, let Dorothy finish up. Dorothy, you still there?
Yeah. still here.
Okay, we have another guest on the line as well. Introduce who you are first.
Don't hang up. Hey, Mr. Patrick, this is Harrison from Liberty. This is Dion.
Hey, how are you?
Okay.
Hi, Dee. Hey, I'm doing wonderful. So my concern is, I'm always concerned about my baby.
Yes.
Always.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what are we going to do? Because there's not going to be any summer school.
Right.
There's not going to be camp for these babies to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the resources that they're putting out there for our babies?
They just gave themselves a raise. If they had any money, it just got absorbed in that raise. See, that's the thing that gets me is it makes no sense, and you're right, but nobody thinks ahead. There's no leadership in this city. There's no visionary. There's nobody sitting there saying, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. So we need to do this and we need to do that. That's why I'm voting for Mary Miller. That's why I believe that she's going to be the one that's going to come in and stop a lot of this foolishness. One of our anchors said to me a year ago almost, he said, watch and see, we're going to elect a white mayor. And I don't care what color they are, as long as they come in here and they get this city together. This is just sad, but you're right. The babies, there's not going to be anything going on, and this coronavirus ain't going to be over by the summer. They say it dies. Yeah, because they don't know who got it. They don't know who got it.
And the sad thing is, it's like, what happens when you run out of food resources for these babies to go to these certain centers and all this kind of stuff?
Yep.
Because then that's going to be a problem. So, my concern is always, okay, we need to keep our babies nourished.
Yes,
number
ma'am.
one.
Yes, ma'am. Number one.
Number two, these streets are not safe for our babies.
No.
Not.
Nope.
Our babies always need to have something to do.
Yep.
Somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Other than just being in the neighborhood. When I had my camp, there was no limits to what I would do for my babies, especially the ones that probably have never been no further than 2 or 3 from their neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, no, you were always doing field trips and getting them out and exposing them. No, absolutely, you're right. But people don't think about that because they don't think the children are important. See, they think that the children are just children. They're a piece of property instead of something to invest in and to expose to things so that they can grow up and live a better life, which is going to make the parents live a better life. Mm-hmm. The better your children. One child with a college education and a family changes that whole family forever. They don't even need a college degree. All they need to do is go or get a trade, that vocation, and that changes the whole. But we don't look at it. In the South, I grew up in Texas. My grandfather had 22 children because he was a sharecropper. He needed them to work. He needed them to work in those fields. Okay? All right? And we don't understand that children are an investment. Everybody else does. The Jews do it. Every other nationality realize that the better their children live, the better the family is going to live. And until we understand that, lady, we're going to keep doing the same things over and over.
I think something that's not being discussed as well is how we're going to get back to normacy. We talked about this yesterday, Patrick, in reference to, there's going to have to be some sort of national test, whether it's an antibodies test to make sure that, or to kind of confirm that some folks have had it and have the antibodies in their system, or some folks are going to have to be tested to see whether or not they still may have the COVID virus in them in order for us to really be safe or feel safe enough to go back to doing, everyday normal activities. If not, we could risk the possibility of flare-ups, and having clusters of infections sprout up from time to time if we don't come up with a system that allows us to safely get back, into the normacy of things. So that has to be discussed.
Yeah. So do you really think that they really thinking about all of that?
No.
Or do you really think that, we didn't got rid of a certain amount of people. It's some more folk we need to get rid of.
Well, no, I don't think
as we go through the months, I'd be glad because viruses don't operate under heat as well. When we get down to August, Right. And then right after August, we're moving right back into the fold.
Exactly. But if you don't know who's got it, you don't know who to pull out of the mainstream, and that's the problem. Now that they might be able to do something a little more convenient than testing everybody. What did you just call the
The antibodies test. The antibodies test determines whether or not you may have had the virus and your body has built up the antibodies in it to be able to fight it off or be able to defend against it, which is they're currently, and it's easier to do a test that way, and you can have rapid tests done, as opposed to waiting several. And you don't have to wait several days, in order to determine whether or not you have the antibodies or not. Or
well, I'm wondering if the governors are going to step in at this point, because we obviously know Trump don't know what he's doing. So what is going to happen? Like, we need to be calling, I guess, our congressmen and senators and stuff locally and talking to them about what Jason was talking about this voting thing. Because Trump is trying to, I think that's really important. And just like he said, they could do that on telephone. You don't even need a computer to do it, And I think that that's important, that we start calling the governor's office and our senators and saying, no, you must secure this election now. You can't wait until October. You can't even wait until March. I mean, April, May. You got to start.
And you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
So.
Well, we need to start mobilizing that now.
Yeah.
We need to start mobilizing that now as far as to get building up the momentum.
Yes.
To get and so we can do it through get in touch with all community associations.
Yes.
In different districts.
Yes.
And particularly in all districts, but. And we got to do a lot of extra work in the African American community, because we really want to pull out a lot of more young voters. We don't want them to miss this and stuff. It's important that they be a part of this process.
Yes,
because,
it is.
Like Dee just said, she's worried about the babies. Most of us are, and like you say, Mr. Patrick. They are an investment, but more than that, this is the legacy.
Yes.
That's going to carry on this struggle.
Yes.
In our community.
Yes, it is. But we don't look at them like that.
Majority, a lot of your children here in Baltimore City is asthmatic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
they are.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know that to be a fact.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, I know that to be a fact because I used to work with the Tree Trust. And one of the reason why we were out there planting trees was because Baltimore had some of the highest statistical rates for asthma in the country. And planting the trees to be able to filter the air and, the impurities and, and to be able to have more oxygen being produced by the trees, is a great way to be able to help, our community,
Mr. Patrick and Jason. I'm gonna call Ruth Ann Norton. She's a good friend of mine. See if I can get her to call in. Maybe y'all can set up something so she can talk about asthma in Baltimore City.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
She's the CEO of Green and Healthy Homes Initiative.
Okay.
So I'm curious to how this virus has affected that organization, because they go around and weatherize and make people's homes units all around the city. And I think they have expanded to Baltimore County now because so many folks have migrated out to the county. Fixing folks' homes up. They also years ago did because I have a child with asthma. They did my home. At that time they did windows and stuff too. I had wooden windows to my home. They came there and they did my windows. They did the floors. They did the mold issue in my home down in the basement. I mean, they did a lot of things. So I'm gonna reach out to her through an email and see if we can connect y'all so she can come on.
Okay,
the show.
That's a great idea, Dorothy. Yes.
Y'all need to talk about that, because what I do know from being on her parent board, I did a lot of speaking on the behalf of at that time it was called the Lead Coalition, and we, I would go over to Washington and speak before the Surgeon Generals and the White House folks and a couple of folks, right? And let me tell you, right, Baltimore, most of the children here have asthma.
Yes.
And they have grown over the decades. We live in one of the most polluted cities
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I was going to talk
And
about.
so
You got
what
finished.
she's saying about getting back to, on Jason, back to normal in Baltimore, right? Yeah, it's going to definitely have to be mandated that all staff members and stuff going to have to be tested, right? And these children going back up into the environment and getting back to what the new norm going to be. It's not going to be like it used to be. It's definitely going to be a whole different it's going to be a whole different protocol. But what is y'all opinion about when you think these kids going to get back to school?
Well, I tell you what, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for parents to check how their children are learning, what their children's abilities are. And I don't know what the online program is. I haven't gone to see what the educational program is, but I have been passing out books to families because I have a ton of books here in my house for children. I have been doing that and asking the parents to read to their children and then to have their children read to them and then explain to their parents what they've read to see how well their children. This is a great opportunity if we think of it like that. But I think we're so
absolutely.
I think we're so panicked that we're not realizing the opportunity that God is giving us to get close to our children and to really find out where they are as far as their learning is concerned. Now,
And not even that, Mr. Patrick. This is my belief spiritually that God was just tired of us being so disconnected
with
from
each other,
our families. You know, like our babies out here ripping and running the streets and taking care of themselves. And, you know, personally, you know, I know this because, you know, I work right in a low-income area where I see that all the time. So I just feel like my personal opinion is that spiritually, this is just God gathering families back together, bringing unity, having these babies to understand what it is to be truly loved and not loved by me buying you materialistic things or technical things like games and computers and iPads and iWatches and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Now it's where families have no other choice but to engage with each other.
Absolutely.
That's what it is to have where unity starts from, where love starts from.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, you know what? This is so interesting you would say this because I'm at a new church now in Good Tidings Baptist Church, and I was talking to the pastor, Reverend Mark Wainwright, who's a brilliant man, anointed of God, and a heart for the people. And I was talking to him about how mean some people are right in the church. And he said, why do you think that is? I said, because they're not taught to love each other. They're taught to love God. Okay? And they don't worship the God that's in them. They worship the God that's up in the sky, not the one that's supposed to be indwelling in them. So that gives them a license to be mean to each other. But he said he knew how much we love him by the way we love one another. But those sermons are not preached. When was the last time you heard a sermon about loving one another? I can't you know, and so if the church is not teaching it, some of the meanest people I've ever met in my life were right there in the church, especially some of the older ones who were mean because they were treated that way when they were children and they're still angry. And we got to realize that anger is not of God, that we got to find a way to love each other, but we must love each other first. We must love each other. We must love our people. Every group that has ever survived loved their own people. Look at the Orientals. Look at the Caucasian race. Look at the Jews. Nobody can hurt a Jew without all the rest of them going, oh, no, you're going to answer for this. Okay? But we don't treat each other like that. We don't value each other. And white folks don't value us, a lot of them either. And you can see it by the way that they're doing things during this coronavirus. So, you know, that's my take on the whole thing. But Ms. Harcum.
And I agree with you 100%, Mr. Patterson, because my personal opinion, this is not for the unsaved that's going on. This is for us who call ourselves as being saved folks.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
If we don't be careful of what we're displaying, that the ones that were first shall be last, and the last
shall be first. Yes,
so
ma'am.
we need to be careful of how we're walking, how we talk, how we hear, how we see things, how we do things.
Yes.
And, you know, deposit good things in people's spirits, uplift them.
Yes.
Even I don't care if it's somebody that you'll look at and be like, I'm not speaking to that junkie, or I'm not going to hug that junkie.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's why Jesus embraced them all.
Hung out. He hung out with them. See, that's the thing. He hung out with. But wait a minute. I was at this church one time, and there were all these beautiful women. Some of them middle-aged, some of them older, some younger. And there was one in there who used to be a prostitute. And she told the people that she used to be a prostitute. She was the most anointed, the smartest one, the most gifted. They wouldn't let her do nothing, as though her sin was worse than all of theirs. I cried when I watched it. I'd sit in church, tears rolling down my face and looking at them, casting her aside, when she was the one that had the word. She was the one that had the love. She was the one that had the anointing. She was the one that had studied to show herself approved. And they didn't, because she had once been a prostitute. See, people think that one sin is greater than the other. That is not true. And we have all sinned. There are no perfect people. If there were perfect people, there would be no need for God. Did y'all hear what I said?
Yeah, I hear exactly what you said. But let's look at Harriet Tubman. If she was that type of person that showed respect to person, you know, it was all kinds of folks when she tried to bring people to freedom and stuff, right? She never turned not one of them down. Not one of them down. You know.
Yep, I know.
And willing to sacrifice her brother, right? If he chose to disrupt the freedom of others, her flesh and blood, you know. And so, I say that to say that she operated like this Christ person operated, right? That all come, right? And if you want to be nasty, you can sit in the back of the church, and I'll let the prostitute sit in the front of the church, right? But the prostitute, the least of us, right, always have the tendency to have the bigger heart. Right?
Yes.
They're the ones that don't sit around judging folks.
Right.
It's the folks that have gotten a little success and maybe some material wealth, right? They maybe have gotten some prestige, and they gotten into some certain circles of folks that seem to have some kind of prestige, right? But they don't have no integrity,
right,
or no dignity about themselves.
Right.
Where's those the least? Although they may not have taken a bath in weeks, right? There's nothing on their belly in weeks, but they still have that integrity. Exactly. They still wear those clothes.
Right.
And so the church, in my opinion, is in this time, in this 21st century, right? This is not the old church from back.
No, it isn't.
Was first in captivity before we even
what it is, and the Bible talks about the least of these, which are our children and our seniors. So I'm telling you what, if we deny them, we are not loving God. We're loving ourselves. We're worshiping idols, and that's what I think the church needs to be talking about. You know.
Well, who can say that they love God and God is standing right in front of our face every day?
Yeah, but they don't listen to God, girl. You know, there are people that they think God is somewhere up in heaven. He's not in them. And that's the problem. Long as he's detached, it's like people that talk about the devil. The devil is everywhere. He sure is, but he can't do nothing without a host. He needs somebody to get inside of